Awesome. So I was able to jump into a few of your guys' breakout rooms. It seems like you guys were having really productive conversations. Some of you guys, had a little trouble figuring out what you might have thought was the correct response for some of the questions. That's totally fine. You don't need to know exactly the responses for any of these questions. It's kind of that's why we're going through them, so I can provide you guys with a little more insight, and any questions you might have, I can clarify as well. Alrighty, so what we're gonna do is I'm gonna go through each question. I'm gonna call on one or two of you guys from different groups to share, and then we'll move forward like that. Alrighty, so the first question that we had is, what majors do you think you will be pursuing in college, and what led you to that decision? So let's see. Helen, what major do you think you'll be pursuing in college?
Like some sort of engineering, like electrical or mechanical. And I
Awesome.
think that because I can build up the skill right now because I'm on the robotics team.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, no, that's awesome. Yeah, I definitely think, anything that you're kind of taking right now, any electives you might be taking that you find an interest in, definitely try to pursue that. See if it's something you can definitely, want to make a career out of, that you're really good at. I think, the majors that you have in mind are really creative. I don't think I could be that creative, but if you have that creativity, go for it. If you have that visualization, go for it and see how that works out for you. Awesome. Alrighty. Luna, what major do you think you'll be pursuing in college?
Probably acting.
Interesting, interesting, awesome choices. Alrighty, and then let's see, Zuleka, what major do you think you'll be pursuing?
I chose something to do like with sports because I feel like I that's the like certain like major that really interests me, and I do sports, so like I feel more connected to it.
Yeah, definitely. No, definitely. I agree with that. I think and we'll talk about this as we go through the next like true or false statements. But yes, you should definitely pick a major that you feel comfortable in, that you feel like you can succeed in, that makes you happy. I think, one thing that a lot of adults have said, constantly, and now I'm one of them that is telling you guys is you guys shouldn't be kind of in a work or a job or a major that you guys aren't comfortable with, that you guys aren't happy in, especially if that's going to be your career for the rest of your life, which pretty much will be. You don't want to be kind of miserable for the rest of your life. So, yes, you should definitely do something that you kind of feel passionate about or you love doing. That would be my best recommendation. Awesome. Alrighty. So we're going to go ahead and move on to the true or false statement. So the first true or false statement was, applying undecided to colleges will hurt my college admission chances. True or false? Eva, what did your group say?
My group said it was true.
Okay. Alrighty. Was there any reasoning behind it? Any insight?
Um, I don't know.
No.
That's what we came up with.
Okay. Alrighty. Let's see. Just want to get a feel for how many others said true. Sol, what did your group say? True or false?
Um, we said false.
False. Interesting. Alrighty. And any reason as to why?
Because, well, I remember you said that it like you can that's an option. So I don't know.
Yes.
I don't think so that there's gonna affect the chances.
Yeah. Alrighty. So yeah, for this one, it's false. Applying undecided to a college admissions is not going to hurt your chances. And yes, I do remember saying, I think last week or the week before that, that applying undecided is actually an option for those of you who might be looking into some competitive majors. Applying undecided is actually kind of a really possible route, and a lot of students actually take this. So, for example, like at Cal, business is a really popular major. And what some students do to kind of find a loophole in the system is that they decided to apply undecided because they have the GPA for it, they have everything else for it. And then once they're there, they'll take a class or two in that major, and then they will move into that major. So it actually provides them a bigger chance of getting into the major they want than if you're just applying as a first year. So no, it doesn't hurt your chances, not in any way, shape, or form. Sometimes it might be a boost if you're kind of trying to get into a competitive major. Some schools, what they do, as a matter of fact, and I think all UCs do this, is where you actually don't go in right away as your major as declared, like you're officially a certain major. What you go in is as an intended major. So at Berkeley, at many UCs, you'll go as an intended major. So for example, I was trying to go into English. I didn't come in as an English major right away. I came in as an intended English major. Then I had to take like 3 or 4 classes in that major, and then I could officially become that major. So I officially became an English major once I took 3 or 4 classes. And the reason why colleges do that is because that way it gives you a little bit of leeway to see which majors actually you might want to consider. You might think this is your major, but it might not be. It gives you a chance to look into other classes, such and so forth. So no, applying undecided will not hurt your chances. If you're thinking of going into a competitive major, it actually might be a little bit helpful. Just kind of research that about, like, according to your school, how many students get into undecided. But I know many students at Berkeley, especially first years this year, who have gone in as undecided majors. Awesome. Alrighty, next statement. True or false? Once I've picked a major, I have to stick with it. So Ignacio, what did your group say for this one?
We said that's more than false. You can change your majors a lot.
Yeah, definitely. So this one's definitely false. Once you go in, you do not have to stick with whatever major you thought you were going to go into. Like I mentioned, some schools, what they do is they give you intended majors. So that way you're not fully committed to that major right away if you want to change it. Because then what some schools do is once you want to change your major, you kind of have to go through a lot of paperwork and a lot of advisor and counselor meetings. So that's why they don't declare you as a major right away. And I would definitely say, like, if you go in, if you take a class or two in your major and you see, like, no, I can't handle the workload. No, I actually don't like this career, or no, I actually don't like this major, and this other major will get me the same job, change your major. I would definitely say don't pay 4 years or 3 or 4 years of tuition in a major that does not make you happy, or that is not making you comfortable, or that you're just going to have a miserable time while you're in college. My recommendation, though, as caution would be, try to change your major within the first 2 years that you're there. By the 3rd or 4th year, I mean, it's totally possible for you to change your major, but at that point, you're kind of running into the obstacle of maybe staying an extra year or more. And obviously, if you have the financial means, that might not be too much of an issue. But if you know that you're not going to have an extra year or 2 of college tuition, especially if you're going to like a UC or a CSU, where it's anywhere from like 10 to 20 grand coming out of pocket, and you might have to take extra loans, then yes, I would definitely say take that first 2 years that you're there, take a class or two in the major that you're thinking of going into. And if you like it, perfect, great, stay in it and finish up in your 3rd or 4th year. If you don't like it, change it. So that way your 3rd and 4th year, you can actually go into something that you're enjoying. So this is false. Awesome. Alrighty. True or false? I should pick a major that matches my career. So let's see. Zilalek, what did your group answer for this one?
We said false, but like I definitely recommend choosing something that's close to like the major or like your career that you're choosing. But I don't think you have to like choose something that's directly with the career.
Yeah, definitely. So yeah, this one is, I mean, it's not either true or false. It's kind of a trick question. It's not necessarily, like you mentioned, you don't necessarily have to go into a major that matches your career. Now, there is some exceptions. Obviously, if you're trying to go into a career in the STEM fields, many of them actually require you have a STEM major. It can be any STEM major, but it has to be a STEM major. If you're trying to go into like medicine, you do have to have some kind of like bio or chem degree. That's kind of the requirement. But most of the careers, you can come in with any major and then build on the experience once you're in the field. So no, it's not necessarily required that you have to match up your major to your career. And I think a really good example of this is like if you're thinking about law, for example, I'm going into law school. I didn't go pre-law, I didn't go political science, I didn't do any of that for my degree. I went in as English. Now, Dilalek's right. I definitely picked something that was kind of close to what I was going to be doing in law school. I know that English was going to require me to do a lot of reading, to do a lot of paper writing, to do a lot of analysis, and then give arguments about it. And that's exactly what law school was going to make me do. So that's why I picked English. It's not necessarily like, exactly matching up to law school, but it's giving me the skills necessary. So no, not necessarily, you don't have to pick a career or a major that matches up with your career. As a matter of fact, if you're not thinking of going to grad school, if you're thinking of just getting your degree and going out into the fields, many jobs will actually give you training. Once you're there, you don't have to know much about it, and they'll give you training there as long as you have just a degree, a bachelor's degree. So that kind of is an incentive. You can pretty much study anything you want while you're in undergrad. If you're not going into fields such as STEM or nursing, those kind of require you to take a major in that related field. Awesome. Alrighty. Now, the last one was true or false. If I get a humanities or liberal arts degree, I will have a tougher time getting jobs in the future because I will not have marketable skills. Now, I'll answer this one. I popped into your rooms and many of you guys were mentioning, it's kind of tough to get a job to begin with once you're out of grad or undergrad because, the field, the market is really competitive for jobs. And that's true right now, especially, getting a job is kind of difficult, not only just with the pandemic, but making sure you have certain specialization skills and such and so forth. But no, if you get a humanities and liberal arts degree, that's not really going to affect how much of a tougher time you're going to get a job. As a matter of fact, I know students even at UC Berkeley who there's a student with a liberal arts degree and there's a student with a STEM degree, and both of them are having a similar playing field when it comes to them graduating and going into the job field. What really helps once you're out of undergrad or while you are in undergrad is soft skills that you can build doing other things. And what I mean by soft skills isn't related to a particular career. I don't know if you've heard like soft skills and hard skills before. Soft skills are skills that you can build that are not necessarily related to one specific career or the other. So for example, some soft skills would be like communication. Are you good at communicating with others? Are you good at doing teamwork? Are you good at organization? Are you good at presenting yourself and giving oral arguments? Those are soft skills. Those you can build taking classes, joining clubs, joining other jobs and internships, and those can actually help your chances of getting a job. Now, obviously, there are some jobs where you do have to have like a specific skill set. Like if you're trying to go into computer engineering, you kind of have to know a little bit about coding and that general area. If that's the case, then yes, you might have a little more difficult time if that's kind of the career you want to go into, but that doesn't mean you're going to have too much of a harder time, especially if you have those soft skills. Some companies are actually willing to give you training and then you can go into the job. So no, it's not necessarily going to give you a tougher time. However much you want to have being at an advantage to get a job depends on how many skills you build that while you're in college that you already have and that you kind of refine. So if you already know you can communicate pretty well, if you already know you can be a team player, once you're in college, just take a few clubs, take maybe a job or an internship that shows those skills. And when you're ready to go into your actual career field, that will be noticeable to your employer or to your possible employer. Alrighty. So this slide is kind of like additional questions that you might want to consider when you're thinking about majors. You should definitely think about what your academic strengths were in high school. Like we mentioned earlier, I know some of you guys mentioned you guys are doing things in high school now that you're interested in and you want to make a major or a career out of. Yes, I would definitely say, you kind of know your best, you know yourself best right now. You know what you like, you know what you don't like, especially under this pandemic. You know what you're willing to kind of pursue and what you don't really want to do. So kind of think about that when you're picking a major. What has interested me? Maybe you took an elective that you really liked, but there was no way for you to continue that elective in high school because most electives in high school are only a year. Maybe you want to pursue that. Maybe you want to take a class in that once you get into college. Try it out. once you get into college, there is a multitude of opportunities for you. There's a multitude of career pathways you can go into. So that's why, applying undecided does not hurt your chances. If you don't know, you don't know. And I know that I think a student the other day said, well, some schools want to know that you kind of know what you're doing with your life. They know that many of us are coming in not having a clue of what we're going to be doing for our future. Many of us actually come in thinking we know, and then we don't know. I think 80% of students that are in college change their majors at least once. So many of us are changing our minds quite often. They kind of just want to see what skills you have already, what organization you have, if you have a kind of passion to pursue what you actually want to do, or pursue, learning about different majors until one finally sticks. If that is presentable to them, that's more important to them than you already picking out what you're going to do with the rest of your life. You should also consider what industries are growing. I think I came into a breakout room that was talking about, one or like one job and a bunch of students fighting for that one job. I would definitely say if you're thinking about job security, like you definitely want a job after you're done with your bachelor's degree. There are certain fields that have a lot of job opportunities. Medicine is a career field that job opportunities are never going to run out. You're always going to need another doctor or a nurse. Or optometrist, dentist. That's always going to be like a never ending field. Other industries, if you're trying to go into STEM technology, we're always looking to find the next bigger and better thing. There's always trying to find a new technological innovation and invention. That field is never going to end either. Some fields are a little more competitive. Like I know for a fact, me trying to be a lawyer, that's not a very big field. I will be fighting with many people for one job, maybe at one or two firms. Unfortunately, that field is pretty competitive because there's not many job offers in that field, which is nice. It's a good and a bad thing, obviously a bad thing for the students who are trying to go into that field, but it's a good thing because we are trying to reform a little bit more our justice system. But yeah, consider that when you guys are kind of picking your fields. Do you want a job right after you graduate, or are you kind of willing to take some odd jobs here and there until you can find your actual job that you're willing to do for the rest of your career? And then the last one is do you want to go to grad school? Are you going to want to get your master's or your PhD in what you want to do? Obviously, some careers require you to have a master's, an extra level of education than just your bachelor's degree. For example, medicine is an ever-growing industry, but you will need to have that extra 3 years to get your master's. So you will have to go back to school. There's obviously other ways you can do it, but if you want to go directly into making the most money as fast as you can, that's where you kind of the route you would have to go. If that doesn't really bother you, look into that. If you want to go into law, that is also a 7 to 8 year pathway. You have to go into bachelor's and then get your Juris Doctorate degree. Others, you can literally just get your bachelor's degree, go into the career, get some training, and then start your job. So it's not necessary for you to get a master's and a PhD. For some fields, actually, it's nicer for you to get a master's and a PhD because you get more pay. Like if you're thinking of teaching, I know some of you mentioned teaching was your dream career. If you're thinking of teaching, teachers get accepted with a bachelor's degree and just get more money if they have a master's or a PhD in it, which is nice because the extra money coming in is nice as well. Alrighty, based on everything we kind of talked about major exploration, is there any questions that I can answer about majors, any concerns you might have about applying as undecided or with a certain major, anything that I can kind of clarify right now? Awesome. Alrighty. So now what we're going to do is I'm going to quickly show you guys some quizzes that can kind of help you out, figure maybe what careers you can look into. If you already know what career you want to go into, maybe this is just reassurance for you. We're not going to have time to actually do them in seminar, but I'm going to send you guys a link so you guys at least have them. So the first one is called Gladio, and I'm actually going to share my computer screen so I can show you what it looks like. Please hold. Awesome. Alrighty. So this is what the Gladio quiz looks like. I definitely think this would probably be the best one to go out of the resources we're going to give you. So Gladio helps you because it's kind of based on your personality. I'm sure you guys have heard personality tests that kind of help you with what careers you want to go into. Like I know there's like the acronyms one, like the IF, et cetera, et cetera. I never take the quiz. It's a really popular one though. But this one helps you based on certain characteristics. For example, the characteristics or the personalities that they have here is the builder, the creator, the organizer, the people person, the persuader, or the problem solver. Based on which category you fall under, they will give you a list of careers to look into. If you kind of just want to see what careers are possible for you, you can go under the browse categories section on the top left, and you can go in under industry and it'll show you the different industries that are here. You can obviously take the quiz. Once you take the quiz, you can see which careers are available for you. This would honestly be the best kind of site if you don't have any idea what you want to do to get a possible idea out of it. Now, obviously, if you take this quiz or if you take any of the other quizzes, I'm going to show you guys. We don't want you guys to think that, oh, you have to stick to something now, or you have to pick something out of it now, or you thought you had a career, but it's telling you this might not be the best option for you. This is why we recommend, taking that first or second year and taking a class in one or two majors and seeing which one falls better for you, makes you feel more comfortable, makes you feel more successful, because these quizzes might be wrong. Maybe you were kind of mistaken of what you want to do, but you'll never know if you don't kind of get exposure to either or. Alrighty, so I'm going to go ahead and stop sharing my screen now. So the other quiz that you can try out, that I'm going to send these links in a little bit into the chat, is a quiz done by a Loyola University. It's a really respected university as well. They've also kind of done their quiz based on personality, and they show you which majors are available for you. And then the very last one that we have is called mymajors.com. Now, the really nice one about this one is once you've gone through the quiz and it gives you a list of possible majors that might be well fitted for you, it'll actually also show you which schools are the top schools for that major. So if you're actually like, yeah, I was considering this major, it'll show you the schools that are best for it, and you can actually update your college list. Or if you haven't finished it, you can add those schools onto your college list because you're now considering that major. So I'm going to go ahead and send the link into Gladio into the chat right now. So that is the first one we talked about. It will take you right away to the quiz. If you want to like explore the careers instead, you can do that as well. Let me just go ahead and send you guys the rest. Oops, someone logged in. I don't know if it was Audi or another counselor. Please hold. Alrighty. Okay. So then this is the mymajors.com. And then I'm going to send you guys the Loyola one. Oops. There we go. So those are the three sites that you can go ahead and kind of look through, see what your major possibilities are. I would definitely recommend trying them after seminar. We're pretty much wrapped up for the day, but I'm going to give you guys the next few minutes to actually maybe look through the quizzes or register for your college presentation. I want to make sure you guys have that done. So I'll give you guys like the next 5 minutes to go ahead and do that. If you want to look through the quizzes, the links are there. I will resend the quizzes or the links for the college presentations right now. So you don't have to scroll all the way up. But I would recommend doing that now in the next 5 minutes before you wrap up seminar. So I'm going to go ahead and send the links for the college fairs and presentations. And then for the next 5 minutes, you guys can check out the quizzes, or you can actually do your presentation sign up or your registration and then send me the Slack message, which I recommend honestly doing that first. If we also have any questions about majors, now is the time. You can unmute yourself. You can send it in the chat. I can talk about pretty much anything because I'm well aware of the different majors that are available. I can pretty much answer anything about majors as well. So you guys have the next 5 minutes. I would recommend looking at the college fairs. You can sign up for that since that is due next week. But if you are done with that and you send me a Slack message, you can look through the quizzes. I'm just going to give everyone about 4 minutes, and then we'll go ahead and wrap up seminar since we're pretty much done with the material for today. All right, I'm gonna stop recording now.